wait, hold on. Oh yeah, there it is. That's it.
Welcome to the channel, everyone. I hope y'all enjoyed that opening, and I hope it was obvious how much fun we were having during the shoot. And I want to welcome anyone who might be new here and just let you know I'm a commercial photographer who has a YouTube channel and not the other way around. So if you want a behind the scenes look into photo shoots like this one, feel free to subscribe and check my video catalog for more content just like this. Okay. Back to the shoot, and that opening was just from day one, so we have a whole other night of content creation to get to in this video. And that part of the shoot took place on location, outside in the woods, so it's got a completely different vibe to it. And speaking of vibe, I've got to give a huge thanks to Cody for teaming up with me again on a Naval Academy shoot. He's responsible for all the amazing behind the scenes footage that you'll see in this video. Fortunately, we didn't need Ziploc bags this time, but we had plenty of other obstacles to overcome to make this happen. Okay, so we'll take a look at everything: lights, locations, setups, final results, all after we roll that intro. For those of you who are interested, I thought I'd make a quick video on how this goes down, how I actually fit all that gear into my car here. So I've got my 2 light cases stacked here, got 5 strobes here, 3 more here, 2 more light stands here, all my various soft boxes stacked here on top of my stand case. Here's the background stand case. My mini roller booms, which are not very many, are over here, along with, here, let me just go over here, roller stands I should say, and they're stacked on top of the booms. Down here I've got more softbox speed rings. This box I don't break down just because it's kind of a pain in the neck sometimes, so I just stuff it right there. And then on the other side I've got another 2-pack of my D2 Pro Photo strobes, camera case, and then in front will be like my briefcase with laptop. Oh, this big boy's the iMac case right here. And in the front will be my laptop in my briefcase with directions and where I'm going. So as you can see, it's a full load. I've gotten several questions about how I fit all that gear into my car, so I thought I would include that in this video since it was a pretty gear-heavy shoot. Speaking of, here's what it looks like when I get all of my gear out of my car and load it onto my rock and roller cart. I don't know, maybe I should be looking into a Sprinter van in the future. Okay, so let's just get into it. Now, this was an unreleased uniform at the time of the shoot, so every precaution was taken to make sure no one was able to sneak a peek before the official release. So while that was going on, we were inside getting set to shoot. So let's talk about the lighting setup for this first night. Well, if you watched my last behind the scenes video with the Gamecocks, you'll see that I did something very similar. To work the edges, I used 2 lights with reflectors, set up pretty high on either side. Complementing those guys on the edge were 2 more lights, one in a Photo 6-foot strip and the other a Westcott 7-footer, which was on the left side. Boomed above, I had a 3x4 box with an egg crate grid attached. In front, I had my other boom working a Photo beauty dish that we later switched to a Westcott umbrella, the smaller medium one, because I like the reflection pattern it was creating in the helmet visor better than the beauty dish. And then behind me for our main fill was yet another Westcott 7-foot umbrella. Now, a couple notes from this shoot. As you can see from the clips, we were tasked with capturing some merchandise images for items that will be released along with the uniform. And this is all very similar to what we did last year during the same type of shoot. After the merch was photographed, we moved to the main attraction, and that's the uniform, obviously. So this uniform from a lighting standpoint was a little tricky since you've got dark everything and then there's a white helmet. So I had to be careful to keep that helmet from going too hot while still getting the detail we needed in the uniform. So it was a matter of watching that overhead light for the most part and just making sure those edges weren't too hot as well up top. And as I mentioned a minute ago, I switched out that boomed modifier to the silver umbrella because I like the reflection better than what we were getting with that beauty dish. So the next night we actually went back to the beauty dish because it was on a handheld stand outdoors, and that's just a lot easier to control than an umbrella. Okay, so with a uniform like this, there are all kinds of details that we need to capture, along with some cool, aggressive poses and other action shots. And I've been asked this a lot, and yes, these are types of things that are discussed prior to the shoot. And I was sent pictures of the uniform in advance so I would know what I was getting into from a lighting standpoint. We also had some images on set for reference, and that came into play when we brought in the Marines to capture the images from the beginning of this video. Now, I'd be lying if I said that was an image that I wasn't really looking forward to capturing. Framing that up in camera is just one of those moments I hope you all get to, or maybe you've already experienced it. But it's just that feeling when you know it's going to be good. And in this case, there was so much planning and expectation for that moment that I actually paused when I had it set. And not that you can really tell from the video, but I held that moment just for a second longer, and then I pushed the shutter button. And you can't see this because Cody then pans the camera quickly, but I sat there looking through my camera and just waited for the reaction behind me. And luckily, it was everything that I hoped it would be. And those are the moments. It's just hard to put into words, but they're just special. And I'll say, I didn't serve personally. I didn't serve in the military, but my dad did. And to know a little of what that means, it's just pretty cool to know that maybe I'm doing a little something and helping represent the Naval Academy and the Marines with a photo shoot like this. It's like the last time we were here.
Right.
I have no idea how this is going to turn out as we just look at a lot of vegetation and trees.
Right, there's a lot to work with. But I agree, like setting up here, give yourself all that space.
No, I think we got some stuff to work with here.
Good.
Shouldn't be that dark out. Okay, so that was several hours compressed into about a minute of B-roll, but I hope it gave a sense of what we were up to and how we made some magic happen. I probably need to say that none of this is actually accomplished without a team of people who are really passionate about what they're doing. Much like last year's shoot, these were not the easiest of conditions, and everyone was just dialed in for about 6 hours on location. I know I was sweating my tail off, and you could see the sweat pouring down our player in one of the clips. Not to mention the bug bites and poison ivy. But hey, if you ask me, it was worth it. All right, so let's talk about the lighting setup for this situation. Being on a location like this required a simpler kit, and that was just fine. It's just a matter of knowing like how and where to place the lights based off of where the main action is taking place. Now, I included those clips before the B-roll segment where you saw us after we first arrived to the location in order to just give y'all a sense of the process that I go through when I'm presented with a location I haven't scouted before and then have to figure out how things can work. I'm sure some of you can definitely relate to that feeling, and I just thought it was important to show it here in this video. And thanks to Cody for being my emotional support there. So what did I end up with? Well, for most of the shoot, I use a 4-light setup, placing 2 strobes with reflectors off to the back corners of my frame. I place those to edge my talent, as well as light the vines on the trees to the left and some vegetation on the right side of the frame. My 3rd light was on my handheld stand, and in a position that I could direct someone to give me good, consistent light on our player's helmet, as well as a reflection on the face mask, so that the viewer could get a sense that it was actually there. The final light was behind me and to the right slightly, using one of my medium umbrellas to give some additional fill light on the plants in the front of the frame and the player. Let me talk about the camera. I was using the Canon R5, and I switched between the 24 to 70 2.8 and the 70 to 200 2.8. Just a little side note, I recommend a good headlamp for switching lenses in the dark. So anyway, the 70 to 200 allowed me to compress the scene and capture some of the greenery that was between myself and the player. And that kind of gave us more of a feel of the environment we were in. And in addition, doing that adds some visual depth to the image. Obviously, we also added a good bit of smoke to elevate the drama and really kind of set the scene. And pretty much everything you see in these images was captured in camera without having to rely on any Photoshop trickery. And these days I like doing it better that way than relying on a computer to advance my images. Now, you might have also noticed some flashing lights as well as a constant light source in the background. And those elements were for the video portion of the shoot that was filming in conjunction to the stills. So after we were happy with what we captured on the stills side, Matt and the video crew took over and began to capture their content. Now, that didn't mean my night was necessarily over. I mean, I could have probably put my camera away, but I had a feeling I could potentially capture some additional content during the video portion. And just a side note, these are the times you can prove your value to your clients, going that extra yard. And in this case, I knew I had a good opportunity because the lights that were already flashing in the background, so with those going on, I knew that my strobes would just be a part of the scene and not wreck what video was doing. So I placed 2 of my lights kind of back out of the video framing area, and I just continually moved in a way that I knew I would be out of frame for the video. So I just set up on different angles and continued to shoot during their process. Now with these, I pretty much had to open up to 2.8 on my aperture and slow my shutter down to capture anything, but the results showed the extra effort was really worth it. And if you're interested in some tips on shooting stills on a film set, I'll link a little video I put up right here. All right, so that was 2 days stacked full of content creation. And if you're interested in seeing more info about the motivation behind the creative, take a look at the official Navy site that I will link down below. Also, I'm sure I've left out a thing or two, so if you have questions or comments, feel free to drop them below as well. And for those of you who are interested in even more content from shoots like this, jump over to my Patreon and you can see extended versions of these types of videos. I also do some one-on-one mentoring, and that's actually been sold out for months. But I did just open one more slot right before uploading this video in case any of you are interested. Okay, so the plan is to have one more Navy photo shoot later this year. So that's on the horizon, as well as NBA and NHL photo shoots within the next month. So subscribe if you'd like to see that content, and hit that little notification bell so YouTube will actually let you know when I'm here. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you feel it worthy. A lot of work went into this one, and I want to thank Cody for supplying me with the behind the scenes footage. I'll also link Cody's info down below, so check out his work on this platform. I know I'm a big fan. Y'all can also catch me on social media at quantzphoto on Instagram and Twitter. Please stay safe and healthy out there, and I hope to be here again soon in the next one.